Hello, myself Sonal Ramakrishna. Here basically we are talking about the 20% error. So in this 20% error, this is also basically one of the error. Just now basically we discussed basically. That is international level error basically. So if another person asks the question basically, you are not able to get the marriage, right? Basically, then I told that yes, here basically. You are not getting the job. So mostly this also basically might be the reason basically why you are not getting job and why you are not getting girl for marriage. So this also basically might be the reason basically. So one of the person told that might be reason basically. So like this, then one of the person told that basically in New York City basically there are New York's blood cells also basically lots of case might be going. Then he told that yes basically that also case basically might be. They basically might have also damage Sunil Arna's body parts. Then also yes basically. Then what about that basically? So one of the person told that basically each and every city in this world basically are connected with blood cells. Their blood cells has generated to human needs. That human needs basically contains what actually? For example, New York City equal to blood cells, right? New York City equal to blood cells. New York blood cells. New York blood cells contains what? New York story basically. New York story means what actually? New York story means actually, for example, in New York, basically around 5 crore people are staying. As in basic, just taking as a don't see the number basically. In real, basically, that might be totally different number. 5 crore people are, so 5 crore people story basically on the base of 5 crore people story, the New York blood cells has created. So whatever things basically you are going to create from the New York blood cells, whatever human needs, as in that basically some dragon fruit created, some peru fruits created, some papaya created, some banana created, or basically some rice created, or basically created some dal, or basically created some fruits, some vegetables created. So that vegetable is going to contain each and every story of the New York. So, for example, that New York data basically are basically used by the Vadodara city. That is the fruits, everything basically they eaten. They basically had in the human needs basically. They basically consume that basically foods basically. So due to that basically the people basically who was having the normal food basically, that time basically normal food means in limit basically, that time basically they were not having the damage, this type of thing basically was not happening, but they started eating the foods in exceed format basically, then basically the damage basically started of eye, of head. Then one of the person told that basically why you have created like this here basically. Then he told that basically the tapman of the human body basically, the body energy basically which you generates the body energy na, that basically temperature basically should be particular this much basically, and then only basically your Vadodara city basically is going to generate certain level of temperature basically, like this basically the 3,75,000 city basically is there. So 3,75,000 city basically contains certain level of temperature basically. It is not supposed to exceed the certain level of temperature basically. That is the only reason basically. But this is the big reason basically. Then he told that okay. So due to that basically, one of the person told that basically eat food basically. For example, you are having fasting basically. Then you can have little bit food basically, because you are not eaten the food for um, morning breakfast, you are not taken evening, then basically the afternoon, then basically you are directly taking in the night basically. So that basically you have to cover, otherwise basically that energy will create problem to your bodies only basically, for less basically food. So that thing basically also is not supposed to happen. So like this basically one of the person told that like this basically the things basically are. So like this basically the system is created. It's not basically somebody else has created. Like this basically the system has created. So one of the person told that basically, like this basically the system has created, right? Basically, then he told that yes, basically, like this the basically system has created. So now basically one of the person told that 20 percentage error basically contains basically, right? Basically then he told that yes, basically you created New York energy. From New York energy you created New York blood cells. From that basically you created certain level of foods. That foods basically and each and everything basically was taken by the people basically of the Vadodara. And that people basically assume that basically few people basically are working in BCom, few people basically are sorry studying BCom, few people basically are studying MCom, few people basically are doing MBA, few people basically are doing MCA, few people are doing CA, few people are working, few people are basically professional group, like these hard working people, like these people, few people are doctor, few people are this, people are that basically. This all basically data is going to generate then into the DS basically. So assume that basically that New York food basically was generated and they basically generated in a medium temperature basically. Then into the DS basically. So when it was generated in medium temperature basically, so whenever the data basically data means human needs basically, that basically is going to consume by that particular group basically, that is going to taken by the Vadodara people basically. That time basically the energy which is going to generate in this Vadodara population would be which type of basically data is going to generate. For example, MBA person basically is reading the MBA books. So which type of energy basically he is going to generate basically. As in that basically MBA people basically who are reading the book basically, according to their blood cells the data basically is divided. For example, A blood group basically data is coming from this side, B this side, C this side. Like this basically data are coming. And few people says that basically all blood groups data basically are coming like this. So that basically depends upon the money basically which they have basically. According to that basically they do the expenses, right? So like this basically things are basically there. So he told that like this basically data are coming and they are basically generating energy basically inside the body, and here basically the dependency is basically the New York food basically on the base of that basically idea has generated, and according to the foods basically you had taken with the New York food basically, like assume that basically you had taken Switzerland food, this food, that food, all food basically merged with your body, and according to that basically the energy has generated and the idea basically has came to your body parts, and then basically the things basically you consumed, right? Basically the MBA boots MBA data basically generated to your body basically. So one of the person told that basically this data taken, the combination data taken, right? Then he told that yes, that combination basically generated the data to your body. So that body basically generated to your body, and that basically particular body generated some energy basically in your body. Then he told that yes basically. So this is one combination. Then he told that assume that in next day basically you eaten that is another combination. Like this basically you have taken 1 crore combination while reading the MBA book. While reading the MBA book. Then he told that yes, yeah basically. So one of the person told that basically is this error or basically is this not error? One of the person was confused basically what actually told only basically. He basically had 1 crore type of combination of foods or basically human needs, blood cells generated. At that time basically he generated MBA energy and he basically had the MBA data inside his body. So this MBA data basically is going to generate energy or basically going to generate error basically. So in next video basically we are going to see basically whether it's going to generate energy. If it's going to generate error, then which condition would be that, and what would be that error basically, and if it's getting not error basically, then why it's not getting error, and the reason of that error basically what is, that we are going to discuss in the next video, that is human needs and the MBA group.